Come on, set up the content. You gotta set up the content, you son of a bitch. You gotta set it up. This is the perfect way to start it.
Jones, you're a funny guy, man. You're a funny guy.
Dude.
I gotta give it to you. I'm surprised that your two lips don't tie in between, and all of a sudden you just start speaking French. But that's just me. I don't know.
I'd be a good kisser if that was the case.
Yeah, we gotta work on that, but that's more issues that we gotta work on you for. But I at least have some hope. I have some hope. You got an orange near you where you can practice?
I don't like the taste of it.
Well,
I tried.
I mean, you never know when you're kissing a pickle. You gotta be ready for that sourness. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen,
this thing's on.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, kids and animals, all sorts of things. Welcome to episode 70 of the Yellow Card Podcast, presented to you by Couch Guy Sports and sponsored by our friends over at Shocked Energy and Exogun. Zebras, lions, giraffes. I hope you are all listening to this shit right about now.
I was about to say, what do we got? Wolves listening to us now all of a sudden?
That would be nice because then they can learn how to win. But I mean, that's besides the point. Anyways, episode 70. We got a loaded gun here available for you.
Loaded Exogun. Boom.
Loaded Exogun. I like it. And we got a ton of energy, like Shocked Energy, because two of our favorite tournaments are coming back into action in this upcoming weeks, and we got a lot of shit going on in the Premier League. Pardon my French, but it's just very exciting times to be a soccer fan right about now. So, without further ado, you know how we do here in the Yellow Card Podcast. We keep a tab of how we've been doing for the Champions League, and we're gonna start a tab now onto the Europa League because things are getting exciting, as I said earlier. And now the Premier League is also starting to become even more exciting than what it is. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Chris, who's going to give us an update on how we're doing right now in terms of Champions League. And we got to get into Champions League action. So Chris, how you doing, my man? Welcome to episode 70. Let's get the action going.
I'm alive, I think. I don't know. That intro got me feeling some type of way. But let's dive in. Champions League, we're here. I am currently the top dog out of you and I. 56.2%, 54 and 42 on the Champions League so far. Diego, a crisp 51%, 49 and 47.
Take that.
So we're above 50%, which is where we want to be. So let's dive in. First game on the slate. So we got 4 games this week coming up. We got 2 on Tuesday, 2 on Wednesday. Psg Real Madrid, first game.
I'm getting Real Madrid on this one. I think with PSG, there's too many pieces that need to really be in sync here. While Real Madrid and Carlo Ancelotti have done a really good job to get things rolling, I'm gonna call this a very close game, and I'm gonna say 2-1 Real Madrid. I believe this game is also being played in Parc des Princes, which usually PSG is really not that great at being at home against a top dog like Real Madrid.
You would be correct. I'm actually going to go draw in this one. I think, you gave Real Madrid the 2 goals. I'm going to give them 1. I think PSG also gets 1. I think this is a 1-1 draw. I think the way that both teams are set up right now, I don't see PSG winning. If anybody was going to win this matchup, it would be Real Madrid. I agree with you. But I think to start off, PSG is going to try and keep it as close as possible, and 1-1 draw is going to happen, with the second leg Real Madrid more than likely taking it at home. But I like the draw in this one to start us off.
All right.
Next one, we got Sporting and Man City.
Boy, this is a rough one for Sporting. I don't even think it's fair. While they are at home and they are a complete different team at home, I still think Manchester City is going to manage to win this one. I'm going to say 3-1 score.
You get City 3-1?
Yep.
All right. I'm going to go 2-0 City. Like you said, Sporting plays very well at home. I think defensively, they're going to play fantastic. I think City's going to outshoot them probably, I'd say like 20-1, if that. Probably. And I think City only capitalizes on 2 of those. So I think City wins this one 2-0.
Okay. I like it.
The Wednesday slate start off with RB Salzburg and Bayern Munich.
Yeah, so Salzburg, while they're very good defensively, I still don't think their probability of winning this game is all that high. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, the odds right now are looking like, 73% chance for Bayern to win it, 16% draw, or potentially an 11% win for Salzburg. With that said, Bayern Munich has been firing in all cylinders. They've been unstoppable regardless of who's managing them. I'm giving the notch here to Bayern Munich 2-0.
Okay. I think it's going to be a little higher scoring than that. I think Bayern wins this one 3-1.
Okay.
I think Salzburg is going to get a weird one. And also, too, another thing, I don't believe Manuel Neuer is playing as well. So that's going to be a big factor as well. So I believe he's getting surgery on something with his knee, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, something about that.
So I think, and plus the line's a little low. Looking at the gambling line, it's a little low for what I would think you would be getting with Bayern Munich. And in the Champions League at home, 4-0. They're 3-0 at home, 3-0 on the road. Salzburg won all 4 games at home in the Champions League this season. So 3-0, 4-0. I think 3-0. I don't know. I'm very confused on what these numbers are saying to me. But Bayern Munich has looked impressive in the Bundesliga, and I think they continue it here. I'll take them 3-1.
Okay.
Last one, Inter, Liverpool. Liverpool at Inter.
I'll let you go first. On this one.
I was going to let you go first. I have excuse me, Jesus. I have Liverpool winning 2-1. At home in the Champions League, Inter was 2-1, but they didn't really play tough competition in the group stage. I mean, I think for me, Inter is so good in the Serie A that I don't think it's going to compare to what Liverpool has, especially because Liverpool is going to be getting back Mo Salah and Sadio Mane since the African Nations Cup is officially over. So I think, and plus this team has looked very, very good since they've last played as a full team. I don't think they've lost a game since November, I think, as well, which is a good sign for them. I like their chances there. I think Liverpool squeaks 2-1. Salah scores in the 75th.
Okay. I'm not as optimistic about it. I'm actually going to go with a 2-2 tie. And the reason I'm saying that is for Inter, there's 2 things that are in their favor. Number one, that current 3-5-2 formation that Inzaghi has installed to this team has actually started to work really well. That 5 front of Mateusz Darmian, Nicolas Barella, Brozovic, Arturo Vidal, and Perisic have actually been very productive. They have put a lot of chances up front for Ian Dzeko as well as Alexis Sanchez, and I think both of them will have a lot of involvement. A 3-5-2 format is also one that Liverpool isn't always very good at facing up against. We've seen it against Chelsea. We've seen it against West Ham. We've seen it against teams that usually play that 3-5-2 format, even Tottenham, whenever they play that format, although Tottenham is used to giving up leads, just happened today. But with that 3-5-2 formation and having the home crowd, I really think Inter Milan will manage to have a tie here with Liverpool. I do agree that Mo Salah and Sadio Mane will have huge involvement. They've been phenomenal in the AFCON and all that stuff. I agree with what you're saying. They haven't lost a game since October. They've been clutch. Chemistry is all there. Club just continues to be club. But I do think that Inter Milan will manage to put a stopgap in between and be able to contain them at home. So 2-2 is my score there.
I wouldn't be surprised. For me, we see this every year with Inter, no matter whether they get out of the group stage or not. They always falter in these big opportunities.
Yep.
And this is a big opportunity in which I could see them faltering in.
The only good thing that I'll have to say about Inter, though, even though it's like I agree with you, they falter when it comes to these opportunities. When they start at home, though, they are a complete different falter type. Like they'll fall behind away, but they make their home be respected. So that's why I'm giving Inter the benefit of the doubt here.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I understand where you're coming from. All right, so that does it for our champs.
That does it
Europa.
That does it for the Champions League. So we're gonna head over to the Europa League, which we have about 8 games going on in this slot. It's later on the week, next week, Thursday, February 17th. But these are very, very good games. We're gonna start off with Borussia Dortmund versus Rangers, which is a 12:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time matchup. It's a matinee. What are we thinking? What are we thinking here for scores, Chris?
I think this Rangers team is tough, man.
Yep.
But my big thing is I see what they're doing in the Scottish Premiership, and it's kind of hard not to want to take them here against Dortmund. But Dortmund's starting to figure it out. They're firing on all cylinders, and I think they're still a little hurt that they didn't come out of the group stage in the Champions League. So I think they're going to try and put a statement here. I think Dortmund wins this one 4-1.
While I would normally agree with that, I think there's 2 factors here. Number one, Rangers is extremely physical, and I expect this match to be nothing but a physical battle. But number 2, the fan involvement is going to be huge here. Those 2 fan bases do not clash very well. It's been historic. In fact, according to the Daily Record, Dortmund is in meltdown as Rangers Europa's League rivals. Lack of class, according to Lothar Matthäus. So they are, emotions are high. So normally when emotions are high, clubs that are top tier don't tend to perform as well. I'm going to go with a 2-2 tied here, but I wouldn't be surprised if Dortmund wins at 3-2. All right. Moving on to Zenit versus Real Betis. Same time, same day, 12:45. Who you got here, Chris?
I think I'm going to go with Real Betis 2-1. I think Zenit's a tough team. I think they're going to play them very tough, especially at home. I think they play them tough, but I think towards the end of the game, Real Betis is just going to have that extra little gas, and they're going to solidify themselves. Yeah, I'm going to say Real Betis 2-1.
I like that. Right now, there's no news in between either of these 2 teams. I think they're both at full strength. I like seeing that. With that said, I agree with you, Chris. I think it's actually going to be a 2-1 score. I think Real Betis will manage to win this one. All right, moving on to a very good clash here between 2 very good teams. Barcelona versus Napoli. We've seen that Barcelona has done 2 signings, that being Adama Traore and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang from Arsenal and Wolves, who are both coming from the Premier League. Both of them available to play in this game. Meanwhile, Napoli continue to doing their thing. What are we thinking here?
I think Xavi has this team exactly where they need to be in order to get a run back into the Champions League. Again, it's weird seeing Barcelona in the Europa League, but this matchup with Napoli is not an easy one. It's not an easy one. I know you do, but this matchup, they got probably the hardest draw out of everybody, in my opinion. So for me, I think they'd squeak out a 2-1 victory here, but I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think.
Okay. I'm gonna go with the same scoreline. I'm gonna go with the 2-1 scoreline. But I think because Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang has been dying to get out of Arsenal and get some new inspiration in between, I actually think the guy's gonna get either an assist or a goal here. So that's my hot prediction on that one, 2-1. All right, moving on to Sheriff Moldova versus Braga. This is it's an intense matchup because both teams do not like each other whatsoever. What are we thinking?
I think we're in a 2-2 draw here. I mean, personally, I just think both teams know each other, and I know they don't like each other. So I'm kind of hoping that we get more of the same style, the brunt style that these matchups can produce. I'm gonna go 2-2 draw for this one.
All right, I'm actually gonna give it to Sheriff. I think technicality wise, Sheriff has the edge here. I do think it's gonna be a huge physical battle. We'll probably see some red cards in between these two teams. We'll probably see that. But I'm gonna go 2-1 with Sheriff. All right. Moving on to RB
2-1 Sheriff?
Yes, sir. Yep. Moving on to RB Leipzig versus Real Sociedad. Who do we got?
I got RB Leipzig 2-0 in this game. I just don't know how Real Sociedad is going to play against Leipzig style. And I think Leipzig's going to get one early. And Sociedad's going to be playing on the back burners the entire game. And then they're going to make one big mistake, and Leipzig opens it up, and it's 2-0 final.
Okay, I like it. I'm actually gonna give this one to Real Sociedad. I don't think Leipzig has been the same ever since they've lost some pieces in their coaching staff. An example, Chris Armas, who's gone now to Manchester United. I'm gonna give this one to Real Sociedad. I'm gonna say the same score, Sheriff and Braga, 2-1. Now, moving on to another marquee matchup here. We got Porto versus Lazio. Porto, unfortunately, has lost a big piece of their team as Luis Diaz has signed a new deal with Liverpool. What are we thinking? What are we thinking here?
I think that's going to make this team come together even more. I love Porto at home.
We all know what you're doing this weekend, but you don't have to rub it in our faces.
I love Porto this in this matchup. Give me Porto 2-1 final.
I like it. I've been riding the underdog here with Porto all along since Champions League last year. I'm going with Porto as well. I think while Lazio will play them tough, I don't think they will play them tough enough. And actually, Porto is the leading team right now in the Portuguese league. So I'm actually gonna go 3-1 Porto here. All right, moving on. We got two more matchups. We got Atalanta versus Olympiacos, and we got Sevilla versus Dynamo Zagreb. We're gonna start off with Atalanta. What do we got?
I'm going Atalanta 3-1. I think the way this team's playing and the style that they play, I don't think Olympiacos can keep up on the road. Give me Atalanta 3-1.
I'm gonna go with a smaller scoreline. I'm gonna go 2-0 here for Atalanta. I do agree Olympiacos doesn't have what it takes to beat Atalanta. However, because they are so physical, I do feel like that will play between Atalanta's performance, but we still see Atalanta pull through. All right. Moving on, last match, but not least, Sevilla versus Dynamo Zagreb. What do you got?
This one's strictly defense. Give me a Sevilla 1-0 here. I think they just get one in.
Okay. Sevilla faces a tough matchup in Zagreb. I agree with that. However, let's not forget, they are the second best team right now in La Liga. They have managed to really just overcome all odds in this, in this league. They've done a real good job at what they do. I'm very proud of the job that Sanz has done with his team. I like their lineup, so I'm actually gonna give credit to Sevilla here, and I'm gonna go with 3-0 scoreline for Sevilla. Feeling optimistic. We're feeling optimistic for Sevilla.
All right, those are Champions League and Europa League players. Why don't we dive into the creme de la creme?
Yes, sir. So we're gonna roll over onto the Premier League. We're now entering about 24 matches played in the Premier League. Got about 14 more matches to go for the season to be done. Looking at the table right now, your top 5 teams are Manchester City, Liverpool, Chelsea, West Ham, and Manchester United in that order. However, from the 3rd to the 5th place, still very close in between. Meanwhile, 2nd and 1st place are basically all said and done. I would say maybe 2nd and 3rd still have a lot to battle in between, but 1st place is basically consolidated at this point with Manchester City. We do know, however, Everton has managed to do some upgrading, as we discussed in episode 69. Frank Lampard, Donny van de Beek, Dele Alli, nice. part of the fun team over there at Everton, as we discussed in episode 69. Yes, I said 69 again, and I'll say it again.
Nice.
It seems like Everton still got some work to do with Leeds and Brentford ahead of them by 4 points. Everton, however, they still do have 3 matches on their hands that they need to catch up to, so they have an opportunity to climb up the table. What are we thinking Premier League wise? What are we looking at right now? What are some thoughts that you have, Chris?
I mean, we have to really talk, because the battle for 4th is going to be unbelievable between West Ham United, Arsenal, Tottenham, and even Wolves.
Yep.
All of them are within 6 points of each other right now currently.
Yep.
And Arsenal and Tottenham still have 3 games to make up as well, and Wolves. So that's a whole other aspect. But I think for me, the big thing is, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at the schedule coming up. The schedule is going to be so weird for both of these teams. I'm really, really looking forward to seeing how the rest of the season plays out. But for me, I think a big one this weekend that you have to watch out for is Tottenham and Wolves. This is a big one. Sunday, the 13th.
Yep.
Leicester City and West Ham is a big one.
Yep.
Because West Ham needs to solidify themselves there. And then coming up, other than that, I mean, the schedule's kind of meh.
Yeah.
But even today, we're recording on a Wednesday. We had 4 games today, with Southampton beating Tottenham at Tottenham, which was a big win. Leeds coming back and drawing against Aston Villa in an absolute thriller. There were 5 goals scored in the first half.
That was insane.
Palace, Norwich City tied. Yeah, Newcastle beat Everton yesterday, and then West Ham barely beating Watford the day before. The same day. And then United does best and taking 1 point in Burnley.
Oh God. Yep. Yep. And we still have Liverpool and Leicester City tomorrow, which could also be a sneaky good matchup, because Leicester City has been sneaky good as of late.
But on the road though is the big thing. We know how Leicester is at home. The only thing that's leaning me in that direction is the fact that Chris Kavanagh is the referee in that matchup tomorrow.
Listen, I'm not trying to discourage you. I do appreciate this Liverpool team a lot. I give them a lot of credit. However, we've seen what happens when this 3rd quarter straw happens to be drawn for Liverpool. Happened last year. It's happened the year before, and it's happened the year before. I hate to remind you, but Liverpool did drop a bunch of points at around this time of year last year to Brighton, to some other teams that weren't so hot. So, I'd be mindful of that. I wouldn't say that they would lose to Leicester City, but I wouldn't also be surprised if they just give up 1 point. So I'm not
surprised by that in any means necessary. Don't get me wrong, I still think that anything can happen. But I think between last year's team and this year's team, I think this team is so laser focused and sharp that I don't think that a streak like that's going to happen.
I hope not. Like I said, I have a lot of respect for this team. I think the chemistry is there. I think Klopp has done a great work. It's just, unfortunately, you have a 3-year record of this kind of slump hitting at this time of year.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of can't avoid that aspect. I'll be saying the same exact thing if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was still at Manchester United at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be saying the same exact thing. I wouldn't be as optimistic. But
I mean, if you look at Liverpool's schedule coming up, so they have Leicester, then they got then they're at Burnley on Sunday, then their Champions League matchup, then they got home against Norwich, home against Leeds, then it's supposed to be Arsenal, Liverpool. I think they're making it up, but I don't know when that's official yet.
Mm-hmm.
And then the EFL Cup final between Chelsea and Liverpool, FA Cup 5th round against Norwich, West Ham at home, Brighton on the road, and then you have to play United and City in 2 out of a 3-game stretch, and then have to go to Aston Villa after that as well.
That's a tough stretch, man. That's going to require a lot of physically conditioning. And after playing the AFCON at those temperatures that they were playing, I mean, don't be surprised if Mo Salah and Sadio Mane have some dealings to work with. However, another team that we need to talk about as well, who have managed to, right now, just by looking at things, they have managed to survive. Newcastle. I'm going to let you get talking about Newcastle first, and I'm going to go next.
Newcastle's been good, man. I mean, I guess the win over Everton was good. I mean, I'm curious to see how Everton looks with these pieces starting at first hand. So we'll have to see how that team looks there. But I mean, they went from the bottom of the table. Now they're right above in 17th. They're doing what they need to do to stay out right now. And with the schedule they got coming up, I mean, look, it's no easy task either. They've won 2 out of their last 3, the other one being a draw. They haven't lost a game in the Premier League since Man City in late December.
Mm-hmm.
So Villa at home, West Ham on the road, Brentford on the road, and then Brighton at home is their next 4. If they win 2 out of those games, I think they solidify themselves not going down. So that's the big thing, and I think their signings. Kieran Trippier has been fantastic for them since coming over. And who's the other one? It's why am I drawing a blank on his name? Who's the forward? Chris Wood. Chris Wood has been fantastic for them as well, and it's helped guys like Ryan Fraser and Alan St. Maxime because they actually have a legitimate, solid striker in the Premier League that can play alongside them. So I think that's also within. Don't get me wrong. I don't think their current manager is the guy. I think they're waiting on someone to become a little bit available. But again, who knows? Who knows, man? Who knows?
Yeah, so right now, the way that I'm looking at this Newcastle team, I am, number one, I'm thoroughly impressed with the signings that they have made. If you look at what these signings have done for this team, number one, have saved them right now. If this was the end of the Premier League, they literally accomplished the goal of saving themselves from relegation. Number two, you got very solid pieces to build a deeper foundation in this team with Kieran Trippier, Matthew Target, Chris Wood, and let's not forget as well, the wonder kid that they just signed from the Brazilian league, Bruno Guimaraes, who honestly, in his game against Everton, I mean, even Frank Lampard was shocked. Frank Lampard was like, what the hell just happened? Because they were not ready for not only the technicality that this kid has, but also just how impressive he really is. Like he's phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Like I said, I'm absolutely and thoroughly impressed with what they're doing at Newcastle. I do agree with you. I don't think Eric Howe is really the guy for this team. He's managed to kind of steer them along the right way. But with that said, I just I don't know if Eric Howe will be the guy to be leading them for longer than this. I think he'll lead them next season, but after that, I don't think he'll be the coach the season after that. I do think you need a coach that's going to be far more tactical, a little bit more offensively driven. And I think a coach like that would be somebody like Zinedine Zidane, maybe even some other names.
Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely going to be curious to see how that plays out. Now the rest of the season plays out, honestly, because this is going to be fantastic.
Yeah, no, I mean, when I think of winners and losers again of that January transfer window, definitely Everton is one of them. But I really think Newcastle has managed to do a very good job. I'm actually thoroughly impressed with this ownership of Newcastle. It seems like they're not just signing people just to sign them and throw big money around. They're signing because they want to build a strong foundation for a team that's going to be competitive moving forward. I really do think this Sheikh is coming in and just kind of really realizing that his money is going to be very well invested one way or another. So, but with that said, if we look at the current Premier League standings, again, like I said, the top 5 teams are Manchester City, Liverpool, Chelsea, West Ham, Manchester United in that order. Following close behind, as Chris has said, Arsenal and Tottenham, tied at 36 points, 6th and 7th place. Wolves, Brighton, Southampton, Aston Villa, Leicester City, and Crystal Palace. Then you got Brentford, Leeds, Everton, and Newcastle. Right now, if the Premier League was to be concluded, the teams relegating immediately would be Norwich, Watford, and Burnley. I think earlier in the season, when we had our third host, Andrew Fasciano, I think there were 2 of us that predicted that Burnley would be relegated. I'm not exactly sure who predicted that. But looking at these bottom 3, look at this bottom 3. It does seem like we might have nailed it.
Don't have it. I'll have to look back in the archives. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look back in the archives.
That's fine. But with that said, any final thoughts, Chris?
No.
All right.
Just stay tuned because we're back in a big way.
We are.
Trust me when I tell you, Champions League's back, Europa League's back, EPL's back, Yellow Card Podcast back.
Yes, sir. Last final thought, the last 5 matches, the best teams out of the Premier League with the best record in the past 5 matches are the following. Manchester City and Wolves going 4-1 in the last 5 matchups. Immediately behind them, Arsenal 3-1-1. Tottenham 2-2-1. Manchester United 2-1-2. And West Ham 3-2. With that said, that does it for episode 70 of the Yellow Card Podcast. Make sure that you're following us on Twitter at Podcast Card. That's the handle. Make sure that you rate and subscribe to the YouTube channel, Couch Guy Sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, all sorts of podcasting platforms. But until next week, signing off, all right, Diego Galvez, Chris Jones. Hope to see you guys very soon.